Happy Heroes Day and welcome to Sunset News on this beautiful Monday evening. As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather, sports, and so much more. I'm your host, Glenora Shipura. Getting into the news tonight, Yandre Dippenaar has been sentenced to 15 years imprisonment after he was convicted of murder stemming from an accident where 6 people were killed in December 2014. Antonia Joshko shares that she is relieved that Yandre Dippenaar was sentenced for 15 years imprisonment for the murder of the accident which killed her entire family. Leandria Mowesh was there and gave this report.
I'm very relieved. I've been waiting for so long, so it's just been a long time coming, and I think, imprisonment was important for me. The years I couldn't really decide on how much would be in justice served, because it just doesn't make sense for me to compare years of imprisonment to killing my whole family, but I'm relieved that he's going into prison.
Do you think you'd be able to move on now with your life, with your dreams?
Moving on is just difficult and it will never really work out, but at least some part of the grief is that now it has an end, and I don't have to go through this court process anymore, even though if the civil case is still going on.
In our next story, we take a look at the Heroes Day celebrations that took place today at Omuthia. Let's take a look.
The future holds my promise for our country in Namibia. But there are also obstacles which we have to overcome for us to arrive at the gates of prosperity. At present, we are facing a devastating drought that is affecting every region across the entire country. We cannot face it as a result. We must just face it together.
In our next story, various emergency response units participated in a simulation drill in Walvis Bay recently to assess preparedness and response capabilities for a fuel tanker emergency involving a product spill and personal injuries. The drill aimed to identify and incorporate potential improvements in planning, training, and resource allocation for future real-life emergencies, all within a controlled and safe learning environment. Frida Moloto was there and gave this report.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Johan van Zyl. We're currently busy setting up a scene to simulate an emergency response test for a vehicle accident involving a fuel tanker. So the scene will be a tanker that got out of control and strike a third-party vehicle and cause a rollover. And that we'll be testing is to see the response of the company itself, and obviously to see where there's gaps so we can better for future and when there's real life scenarios.
And there was a pregnant woman that was a passenger that was injured, and there was a pedestrian also.
Okay.
So there were four.
They were injured.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're all evacuated, yeah?
In our next story, Oshana Governor Elia Irimari recently delivered his State of the Region address and made some recommendations to the challenges the region faces in the fight for economic emancipation. Tuemo Haidula was there.
With optimism, this challenge can be turned into opportunities through the following recommendations at the regional level. intensively engaging banking institutions to allow for alternative building material in order to achieve low-cost housing options for lower-income earners in the region. Invest in boarding schools in rural areas which will provide a better learning environment and avail enough space for learners' accommodations in the region. Fast-tracking and rehabilitation is very important, and the extension of the Taka Canal to reach to Oponona Lake to provide sufficient water for irrigations and also for animal husbandry in the area south of Oshana. The continued support to the abattoirs and to local farmers in order to enhance agricultural production in the region, but in particular, the Ubudia constituencies, Kachali and Puyushana. And the fast-tracking the implementations in the region of capital projects and other developmental programs of government in order to stimulate economic activities in the region. Also, to address the housing backlog, we need to fast-track the implementation of the review compensation policies in order to improve land delivery in our urban areas.
In our next story, the Minister of Industrialization and Trade, Lucia Ipumbu, handed over the equipment age scheme at the David Shikomba Park in Ongwediva to 79 recipients from Oshikoto, Omusati, Ohangwena, and Oshana regions. Ipumbu also launched the new applications for the financial year 2024 to 2025. Let's take a look.
If we look at the applications received, Oshana, Ekulele, Kabango West, and Ardao are the regions that are lagging behind. And that's why we felt that we should come to your regions. Perhaps if we are to do this from your regions, it will stimulate interest going forward. We are also here today to make sure that we launch our next phase of applications. And that is now for the year and the financial year 2024-2025, which starts on Monday. This event is therefore a critical event that signifies the ongoing commitment of our government through the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade. If we are to look at the role of businesses in general, especially the MSMEs, their role is to drive the economic growth. They are also there to create employment, and at the end of all is to alleviate poverty. They remain the engines of innovation and the drivers of sustainable growth and development.
That concludes our top stories. After the break, we take a look at our entertainment news. A South African non-profit, Sisters Working in Film and Television, is expanding to Namibia. The organization empowers women working in film and television production. Irena Marie van der Walt was there and gave this report.
In that line, with these values, Swift is now expanding their reach by, of course, extending their first leg right here to the sister Namibian country. This expansion marks a pivotal moment for both organizations as they join forces to advance the cause of women in film and industry, in film and television industry. I think because we are here, let's just give the two powerhouses a round of applause.
Still with entertainment news, the Jamaican author Ishon Hutchinson shares at the Duke Literature Festival that the children's book Treasure Island, written by Robert Louis Stevenson in the 1800s, is still one of his favorite books. Hutchinson is loved for his poetry, which he explained is mainly guided by rhythm.
Because I read them every year. The first one it's usually surprising to people when I talk about this book, and I'm obsessed with it. It's Treasure Island. Reddit's nodding. So one person has read it. Why? I think it's an adventure story set on an island for the most part, and I think it's one of those interesting things where it's not that I recognize myself in the character in Jim Hawkins or something, or at least directly, but I felt when I first read that book and finished it, maybe when I was 11 or something like that, like I'd accomplished something. I finished it on my veranda at my grandmother's house, and then I just went back to the first page and started reading it. And it became a thing that I just would pick it up periodically and read it. And there are moments in which, particularly the scenes in which the pirates are chasing Jim across the island, where the landscape is described, and it feels as if this is the landscape that of my own.
On the other side of the break, we take a look at the preparations that took place before the Heroes' Day celebrations.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
Prior to the Heroes' Day celebrations that took place in Umuthia today, Cabinet Secretary Dr. George Simata shared more on the preparations for the Heroes' Day celebrations. Let's take a look.
We are here at Umuthia, and we are preparing the venue for August 26, which comes on the Monday. We are ready to go. We had few challenges which we are overcoming at this moment. The teams have been here from the 15th of August. Some teams came on the 19th. I personally came yesterday. I had an engagement with the chairpersons of several subcommittees, and we seem to be thinking that we are on the way to success. As you can see in the background, that's the big tent that we are putting now for the general public, and the one for the other invited special guests is also almost completed. It's work in progress. Today is a Saturday, around 1600 hours. We are very sure that by the end of today, these two tents will be pitched and fully decorated. So we invite all the people of Umuthia, including those of extended Namibia, to come in big numbers. Heroes' Day is an important special day on the calendar of the Namibians. We need to come and see and observe and commemorate our heroes.
Coming up is our economic news.
Entries are now open for the second round of Republicane's Bridal Couple of the Year competition. Couples married between 1 June and 31 August have until 30 September of this year to enter the second round of the competition. Another one of the top 10 couples will be chosen from this pool to participate in the final, taking place in May 2025. To better your chance of reaching the final, enter now. To enter, simply WhatsApp #Bridal2025 to 085 785 6231 and follow the on-screen instructions or scan this QR code.
Getting into our economic news, Vice President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, during the official opening of the Ongwediva Annual Trade Fair, said Namibian business people should familiarize themselves with the African Continental Free Trade Area, of which Namibia is a part of, so that the investment the government made does not go to waste. Let's take a look.
Ministry of Industrialization and Trade provided the technical support, while the Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation provided the diplomatic support in this negotiation. And we can tell you here that we have already made our input. It is therefore now up to the Namibian business people not to allow our investment to go in vain. And that's why we are calling you to educate yourself, familiarize yourself with the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, so that Namibia can reap the investment that we have put in this. It's not only that we spend money for traveling, but a lot of energy when you are sleeping on those negotiation rooms. It's not an easy task, and we want value to be gained by the Namibian people from all those efforts.
Let's take a look at our financial indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.45, against the euro at 19.90, against the US dollar at 17.81. 2 Namibian dollars and 50 cents gets you 1 Chinese yuan. On the commodities market, gold, copper, platinum, and Brent crude oil all went up, with Brent crude oil trading at 0.35%, going for $79 and 81 cents per barrel. On the other side of the break, we take a look at our international news.
Neopaints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neopaints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neopaints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Getting into our international news, a right to disconnect rule has come into effect in Australia, offering relief to people who feel forced to take calls or read messages from employers after they finish their day's work. The new law allows employees to ignore communications after hours if they choose to, without fear of being punished by their bosses. A survey published last year estimated that Australian workers worked an average of 281 hours of unpaid overtime annually. More than 20 countries, mainly in Europe and Latin America, have similar rules. The law does not ban employers from contacting workers after hours. Instead, it gives staff the right not to reply unless their refusal is deemed unreasonable. Under the rules, employers and employees should try to resolve disputes among themselves. If that is unsuccessful in finding a resolution, Australia's Fair Work Commission can step in. The FWC can then order the employers to stop contacting the employee after hours. If it finds an employee's refusal to respond is unreasonable, it can order them to reply. Failure to comply with the FWC orders can result in fines of up to $19,000 for an employee or up to $94,000 for a company. Organizations representing workers have welcomed the move. We'll now take a look at our weather predictions. The capital city can expect a minimum of 13 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 28 degrees Celsius with sunny weather conditions, while Anana can expect a minimum of 13 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 36 degrees Celsius with partly cloudy conditions. Oranjemund can expect a minimum of 12 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 18 degrees Celsius with partly cloudy conditions, while Henties Bay can expect a minimum of 11 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 17 degrees Celsius with sunny weather conditions. On the other side of the break, Ari Hogat will be bringing us the latest in the world of sports.
Irongomed is a leading distributor working in partnership with NewMed and Westmed to meet the comprehensive needs of the Namibian healthcare sector. As a partner pursuing sustainable global healthcare, we offer industry-leading medical solutions through our key focus areas, which include pharmaceuticals, orthopedics, ophthalmology, surgical devices and capital equipment, as well as a well-established scientific laboratory division. In healthcare, Irongomed is committed to making a difference. What about you?
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with soccer news first. It's English Premier League, and after the two first weekends of English Premier League, there's only 4 teams that's unbeaten of the 20 teams. That is Manchester City, they're the defending champions. Also Brighton with a brilliant start to the season, beating Everton away, and also Manchester United over the weekend. Then also Arsenal still unbeaten after 2 games, and also Liverpool. What's happening over the weekend is that Manchester City, the defending champions, they will play away to West Ham. And then an interesting game between Brighton and Arsenal. It is Brighton with 2 wins, as I said, and Arsenal will host Brighton this coming weekend. And then Liverpool, they've got a big game coming up on Sunday, and they will be away to Manchester United. Moving on to Formula 1 racing, and it was the Dutch Grand Prix the past weekend, and it is still Max Verstappen. He is from the Netherlands. He won, or he was second in the Grand Prix, the Dutch Grand Prix. The winner was Lando Norris, so the difference is now 70 points between 1 and 2 on the standings. It is Max Verstappen in his Red Bull. He's got 295 points. Lando Norris on 225, so it's going to be a competitive season for the rest of the season, with McLaren doing really well at the moment. Charles Leclerc in Ferrari is third on 192 points. The next Grand Prix will be the Italian Grand Prix, and that will be on the 1st of September. Moving on to cricket news, and news from the England camp is that Mark Wood, their seam bowler, their fast bowler, is injured. He's got a thigh injury and he won't be able to play this coming Thursday in the second test against Sri Lanka. England winning the first test against Sri Lanka. The second test will be played at Lord's. He will most likely be replaced by Ollie Stone, who was in the group but didn't play. He was 12th man, and also Josh Hull was brought into the team as a backup. Closing off today's international sports news, it is golf news, and it is the FedEx tournament on the PGA that continues over the weekend. It will actually be the conclusion. It is only 30 players that qualified to play. That is in Atlanta. That is the final tournament of the FedEx, and it's played at the Eastlake course in Atlanta. The past weekend in the BMW Championship, it was Keegan Bradley that won the tournament. He's from the United States, and that put him to number 4 on the list at the moment. So the top 30 players playing in Atlanta, and it is also South African Christian Besaidnout that qualified. It just made it into the top 30 to play in Atlanta. The favorite to win in the FedEx final round in Atlanta is the world number 1, that is Scotty Scheffler. And also there will be strong competition from players like Rory McIlroy. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Thank you for tuning in and watching Sunset News on this beautiful Monday evening. From me, Glenn Rashipura, happy Heroes Day.